Mr. 𝐘𝐮𝐼ng𝐬, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do have a notebook and a pen, and sometimes water if you need. My name is Nelson Makanda. I am the chair of this selection panel. And let me say that it's a great pleasure to have read your CV and your application for the position of member of IEBC, and for that reason you are shortlisted, and we want to congratulate you for being shortlisted. I would like to invite my colleagues here to introduce themselves to you. Then after that we will come to you. Linda, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Mr. 𝐘𝐮𝐼ng𝐬. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
My name is Linda 𝐘𝐿𝐬, and I serve this panel as the Vice Chair.
Thank you.
And I want to welcome you to your interview. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Bwana Juvenalis, good morning.
Morning.
Naitwa Andrew Tanui, mwanachama wa jopo hili la uteuzi na karibu.
Thank you.
Mr. Okubo, good morning.
Morning.
Caroline Kituku, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Good morning, 𝐘𝐮𝐿𝐬.
Morning.
My name is Adam Solo, a member of the selection panel.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
My name is Nicodemus Bore, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Okubo.
Morning.
My name is Fatuma Ali Saman, a member of the panel. Please feel welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Okubo, and
Morning.
it is really nice to see you after so many years.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. My name is 𝐘𝐮𝐼ng𝐬, as you know, and I'm a member of this panel.
Thank you.
Good morning, Juvenalis.
Morning.
My name is Evans Misati. I'm a member of the selection panel, and we welcome you to this interactive session.
Thank you.
Now we come to you, sir, and request that you introduce yourself, highlight your profile, and the things that are significant for us to take note of, and why you feel you're suitable for this position. We'll be interested to know whether you belong to any professional group or society, and to know whether you have received any award during the course of life. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Juvenalis Okubo. I am by training a lawyer. I'm a graduate of University of Nairobi. The bachelor's degree in law, a master's degree in law, MBA from Moi University, a diploma from Kenya School of Law, diploma in financial management, diploma in security studies, member of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, member of East African Law Society, member of Kenya Law Society, member of Institute of Mediators and Conciliators, member of International Arbitration of Court Administrators. I used to practice law. Before then, I went corporate. I worked in 2 state corporations, all of them in the agriculture industry. That was the Nyayo Tea Zone Development Corporations and the Kenya Sugar Board, where I was in charge of the legal department and corporate issues. Thereafter, in 2006, after I completed my master's degrees, I went and got a job in an international organization where Kenya is a member. That is IGAD. We're based in Djibouti, operating from Djibouti and Addis Ababa. While in IGAD, I was the legal counsel and head of institutional affairs. I was actually the first holder of that office and set up that office from the scratch. Now, the office was such that if there was anything that the organization didn't know where it should be located, it will end up in your office. So while I was the legal counsel, I also acted for 2.5 years as the director of peace and security. There was no substantive director. While also serving as a director of peace and security, I also served as the director of a conflict early warning, that is C1. In 2016, I moved to East African Community, to the East African Court of Justice as the registrar of the court. And I worked there until 2022. mid-2022, when I finished my tour of duty and I came back to the country. My interaction with elections started in 1997, where I was appointed a returning officer for 𝐘𝐮𝐼 constituency. I think I must have been the youngest returning officer then. We did that election, and you know that was in the old system where all ballot boxes are counted at the returning officer's office, and it was such a hectic thing. I remember during the evaluation post that elections when we suggested, why not count the ballot papers at the polling stations, then just have the figures at the returning officer's office. And in 2022, for the first time, that was put into place. It is in 2022 that we started now counting votes at the polling stations, not at the constituency level. So in 1997, I was returning officer 𝐘𝐮𝐼, and in 2022, I was also, not 2022, but 2002, I was also returning officer for Mumias constituency. Then when I left the country as a head of legal and institutional affairs and acting director of peace and security, Sudan was holding election for the first time after 24 years under Bashir. And being a member of IGAD, we were tasked to go and observe elections there. So I put up a team of members from all the IGAD member states, and we had a training held by Institute of Education and Democracy. And the chief trainer is right here with you. It was a very good training that opened up our eyes. And this was also the first time that IGAD was going to observe elections in a member country. So we went to Sudan, Khartoum, distributed quite a big team all throughout the Sudan, which is a big country, and observed that election and learned a few things from there that were not, let's say, like in our country. Following that was in 2010, then we came to observe the Kenyan referendum that led to the new constitution of Kenya. Shortly after that, in 2012, there was now the referendum of separation of Sudan, South Sudan. Again, we were in Juba with a very big team, and South Sudan is also a very expansive country. We were able to have observers scattered all over, took them through trainings, what they expected to do, and we concluded the exercise very well, presented our report to the government of South Sudan. Eventually, after that, that's when South Sudan was created. Then we came back to observe the Kenyan elections in 2013. Thereafter, we also observed elections in Uganda, Ethiopia, and while I was in EAC, we were also able to observe elections. I was able to be part of the EAC observer mission that was observing the elections in Tanzania, the last elections in Tanzania. And 2016, while we went to our IGAD team was going to observe elections in Uganda, I was appointed to be the head of mission of the IGAD observer mission, where we were interacting now with other election head of missions for the other countries and observing those elections. We were basing mainly our tools on the international principles of democracy and elections and democracy, the AU principles of elections, and even the East African Community Code Protocol on the governance and elections. While at TSC, the courts, which is like the judicial arm of the community, we got involved with the publicizing these courts, because when I got there, very few people knew about the court. Even not many lawyers knew about the court, knew about the jurisdiction of this court. And I was very instrumental in publishing this court throughout the region so that many people can make use of the court for the purposes of integration in the region. I am motivated by my interest and commitment to democracy. I want to see free, fair, and transparent election, which is a backbone for backbone for democracy in any country. I'm also committed to integrity and impartiality, where I want to see equality and also not ensure every citizen feels his vote is counted and his vote counts. I also look at this position as an opportunity to serve the country, giving back to the society, and a contribution which I can make to our country. I'm also committed and motivated by innovation, making use of innovation for free and fair elections. also hope that I'm also motivated by the need to ensure we have a global impact. The IBC can conduct elections in a manner that the region can actually come and benchmark from Kenya. Lastly, I'm also committed to seeing that I can leave at least an impact to those who are behind me for the exercise I've done. While working, I've also mentored very many young people, especially those who came to Arusha doing law and wanting to know how registration works. These were mainly students who are coming for internship. I mentored a lot of them so that they take an interest in the regional laws, not just the national laws. Chair, that is me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So since you came back from ESCJ, what have you been doing?
I've mainly been doing my normal consultancies in ESC law, integration laws, and particularly laws touching on. I do most consultancy for East African Development Bank, which is an institution of ESC. I also do court annexed mediation and arbitration.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Linda, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Maybe first, for clarity purposes, Chairman, I do recognize that the candidate is a member of the Law Society of Kenya. I have also seen a recommendation letter from the East Africa Law Society by the acting CEO then in the year 2022, 𝐘𝐮𝐿, and I have seen my name appearing on the column of the council members for ELS. At that time, Mr. Chair, I was the president of the Law Society of Kenya, and in no way am I conflicted, because that letter is a letter for recommendation of good character for the candidates for interview. That being said, Chair, I do not have any conflict. I do not personally know the candidate before, but I do confirm that letter was from the East Africa Law Society, where I was a member at that time representing the Law Society of Kenya. So that being said, Chair, I'm objective in my assessment of the candidate. Now, Mr. Youfunalis,
yes.
As a member of the IEBC, what key skills and competencies do you believe are essential for the team of commissioners to work together?
Now, as a member of IBC, one will need to be a team player, because you're working with a diverse group of people. One will need to be a good listener. You will hear a lot, and you must listen to what people are saying before you respond to them or know what to respond to them. You require mediation skills. There are a lot of conflicts in this work, both in the commission staff, outside. Those skills will come in handy. You will even require financial management skills, because you sit in a position where you may have to make decisions touching on funds, prudent use of funds. You require also the ability to work with work with different people from diverse backgrounds, and you'll get all this. I mean, Kenya is a country with people with a lot of diverse backgrounds. You require skills on how you intermingle and work with these people, so that the work becomes seamless. Yes.
And what interpersonal skills do you think you have that will enable you to execute your mandate as a commissioner?
I am a team player. I take time to listen. I am a mediator, certified by the International Mediation Institute. Have experience with working with diverse people of diverse backgrounds. When you go to international organizations, like when I went to IGAD, that is an eight country members. So you get staff from all these countries, yet you have to work with them. Even when I went to ESC, there are people from that time, it was 5 countries, now it's about 8 countries. Again, you're interacting with people from all of these countries, with the different backgrounds, and I was able to work with them properly. So I think I possess those skills, and even good. If I become a commissioner, I'll be able to interact properly and deliver on my mandate.
Thank you very much, and I wish you the best. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Mr. Okubo. Now I want to invite Carol to also ask you some questions.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Okubo, let's speak about something I'm very familiar with. We have seen Kenyans approach the East Africa Court of Justice to determine electoral petitions that emanated from the Kenyan Supreme Court. We have two instances of two cases, I think, before the ESCJ. One of them has been determined to its logical conclusion, and I believe the other one is still pending. So under what circumstances can the East Africa Court of Justice hear cases involving electoral disputes in Kenya? Does it have jurisdiction? And if yes, what is that triggers that jurisdiction?
Yes, there have been a lot of confusion about that. And as I said earlier, we discovered even lawyers in Kenya don't understand the jurisdiction of East African Community. The fact that a case has been decided in Kenya does not mean it cannot go to East African Community. However, it does not go there as an appeal. It goes there because the way that case was handled in Kenya, it violated the treaty. Now, the famous case of Martha Karua, whoever went to court was not saying overturn the decision of the Supreme Court. The governor of 𝐘𝐮𝐿, he was already declared a governor. This person did not come to Arusha saying overturn that decision. All they were saying is that, look, while my matter was being handled in Kenya, it violated the treaty. And that is why the decision of the East African Court of Justice did not overturn what the Supreme Court did. It simply said you violated the applicant's rights under the treaty. So yes, the jurisdiction is violation of the treaty in whatever you do here. If you have your own laws here and violate them, your own laws, you can be taken there, because under Article 6 of the treaty, which sets out the principles and underpinning the cooperation EAC, one of them is rule of law, the governance, democracy. So if whatever you're doing here, you violate any of those, then somebody can comfortably take it to the East African Court of Justice, and the court will have jurisdiction. But people confuse, thinking you can go and appeal in Arusha. That is not the case.
Absolutely. So in respect to electoral matters, what are those principles in the EAC treaty that trigger the ESCJ jurisdiction?
There is the rule of law, Article 6 and 7.2. There is a good governance, the same articles. There is democracy. So if an event of an election here is done in a manner that it violates the rule of law in Kenya, that it violates the principles of governance in Kenya, that can trigger a case in Arusha.
All right, that's okay. So let's come back to Kenya. What is the dispute mechanisms, or what is the dispute resolution procedures around election petitions?
There are two scenarios here. There's one before the election is done. The disputes that arise particularly after nominations, which are handled by IEBC before they even go to courts. Then you have the disputes that come after the elections have been concluded. Somebody will be disputing the results that were announced, which goes through now the High Court, and I mean the local mechanism, mainly through the High Court, for Presidential, Supreme Court, all the others through the High Court by filing election petitions.
Which court has jurisdiction to determine petitions concerning the elections of member of County Assembly?
Also the High Court.
High Court?
Okay, sorry. They start in the subordinate court, but they can appeal all the way. They can even, if there is even a matter touching on the something which is of public importance, it can end up even the Supreme Court. But it'll start from the subordinate court and it'll come all the way. Mainly
So what does the Elections Act say specifically about the jurisdiction of the courts in regard to each of them? Let's speak about the member of county assembly. Where do they start, and where does the law contemplate that are going to end? You remember the Supreme Court of Kenya in the Governor of Meru Munya's petition is when it invented the doctrine of necessity to determine the election petitions. But what did the law envisage before the Supreme Court expanded on that? What does the law say?
I think the law says like a county assembly will start in the subordinate courts and it can end up in the Court of Appeal. For a member of parliament, it start in the High Court, and if need be, it can reach the Supreme Court. Depending on how matters are determined in the Court of Appeal, there could be matters of public interest that requires interpretation of the Supreme Court. It might end up in the Supreme Court.
What is the jurisdiction of the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal in electoral matters?
Political Parties Dispute Tribunal is before the elections. There could be disputes about the nominations or as to who won during the nominations. There could be disputes about maybe registration of voters. There could be disputes about the party lists. Those ones then will go to the tribunal before they can escalate anywhere. Jurisdiction of political parties.
Yes. Do political parties have dispute resolution mandate? If yes, what is it they look into?
I think the parties are supposed to have their own internal mechanism to resolve the issues first. If they don't have, then they can go to the tribunal.
Thank you very much. I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I want to invite Madam Koki to ask you some questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. Okubo, I know you have first let me join the Vice Chair to say that I have no conflict of interest dealing with you, even though we have worked as professionals previously before.
Yes.
In fact, I've been saying that about a lot of people because, as you know, elections, democracy, and governance is my area of expertise. So I've met most of the people who would be going to the IEBC, and therefore I can say that I'll be objective in determining your suitability. Having said that, because I am aware of your experience in this area, I will not ask you one of the questions that I have here, but I would like to implore upon you to tell the panel and the people who are watching you, what are the key areas, the key drivers for you to want to go to the IEBC, and what kind of legacy do you wish to leave there in terms of the electoral cycle, improving the elections or the integrity of elections and the credibility of elections? What do you want to do that Kenya will remember you for if you get lucky and go to the IEBC? What would you do to improve the integrity of elections?
Thank you, Balozi. I think the major thing that I would like to do there is to leverage on innovations, information technology, especially when it comes to transmission. Because to me, I think that is the elephant in the room. We are talking about real-time transmission. Go to any ATM, which is not even your bank. The last question you are always asking an ATM is whether you want a receipt or not. Immediately you click on no, a message comes on your phone while you are still there. You have not even received the money. A message down from your phone, you have withdrawn 10,000 shillings. Then now the machine starts counting. That is real time. And if we have that technology here with the banks, I don't see why the same technology cannot be applied with the Electoral Commission. In fact, that's the real time. Then when the machine starts counting the money, those are now the Form 34s starting to come. So already the information is there. Why can't we have it in a manner that as soon as the presiding officer clicks the enter button entering those results, the figures come on a screen there where everybody can see, instead of them going in the background office, then where it is wait to be compared with the forms that have arrived before the figure goes there. I think that will ease a lot of problems. So I'll work a situation where I'm remembered that I insisted on information technology that then created trust to Kenyans. And even that technology should be tested and retested and retested. For example, what happens in Brazil? Why not, for example, have a day where you invite all hackers from wherever? Let us test this system. Hack into it. If it goes through, we know there's a problem, we go back to the developers and say, can we seal this? Then we try it again. If it can be tried and tried and tried, then everybody will have faith that nobody can hack into this system. Then the trust will be developed.
Thank you. Candidates seem to trust banks. They even trust this year when you apply for your clearance certificate. You go and whatever is brought to you is what you believe. But candidates, because of the amount of money they spend to prepare for elections and campaigns, they don't trust the IEBC. So what are you going to do to improve that trust deficit you are saying? Because we have seen, even as much as machines seem to be working, that trust is still missing, and the confidence. How are you going to improve that?
I think, first of all, we need to apologize for past failures. Assure the public we recognize those failures. We are sorry about them. We have learned from them. And we are a new team that is going to correct it. The public at least saw these people are acknowledged something was wrong. 2, assure them that now there's a new system we are putting into place. Things like those testing and the hackings and what, they give confidence to them that indeed this system can work. 3, I think we need also to do a lot of voter education on how this system works. And even go further, introduce penalties for malpractice. I don't think in these countries we have seen any serious prosecution of electoral malpractices, yet they are there. So when malpractice like that happen and nothing happens, people say, but what will IBC do? Nothing will happen. How do we trust them? If you look at the past events from 2007, 2017 nullification of that petition, 2022, the debacle that happened there, all of those create doubt in the minds of people. But now this will be a new team assuring them that, look, we have noticed what that happened, and we are taking that to make sure that will never happen again. That assurance, to me, can bring back the trust to the public.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okubo, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I want to invite FCPA Tanui to also ask you some questions. FCPA, please.
Thank you, Chair. Bwana Juvenalis, if you are successful to join IEBC, you will be joining another team of 6 commissioners, and all of you will be new, because as we are talking now, there are no commissioners at IEBC. So why is institutional memory important for an EMP, election management body like IEBC? And secondly, how do you handle that fact that none of you will be having any institutional memory, or you'll all be new at the commission, assuming there will be no one who has ever worked at IEBC? How will you handle it? So there are 2 questions. Why is it important that we have institutional memory? And how will you handle it if given an opportunity that all of you, noting that all of you will be new at the commission? Thank you.
Yes, institutional memory is important because then it enables the team to know where had we stopped, what had we started, what was the progress of assignment A, B, and C, and where do we pick it to progress instead of starting afresh? So it is important, institutional memory is important for continuity. But now we have a situation where 6 or 7 people are coming, all of them are new. None of them was working there. It is required to foster a very good working relationship with the secretariat because they have been there. They have the records of what has happened. During the induction, it will be very important to take the commissioners through what has been happening before, what was pending, maybe something that stopped because the commissioners were not there, so that now the new commission picks it up from there. And it will also give an opportunity for the commission to review what happened back from the records, from the documents they were given, and then now proceed from there. So it will require that good cooperation and good relationship with the secretariat. They are the only ones who will then have that memory.
During our interviews here, we've had a good number of members of the secretariat. And they also have these fears that some of the commissioners who at times they come externally, they come having this feeling that they are the commissioners and they are the decision makers. And therefore, the secretariat have no role in that process. So what is your take on that?
I think being commissioners, yes, they are commissioners, but if they say that, then it means they also don't understand their roles. First of all, they can't work without the secretariat. The roles are very clearly separated, very clearly defined in the IEBC Act. So anybody saying that they are the ones to make decisions, if left on their own, I don't think they'll make those decisions. Or if they will make wrong decisions. So anybody saying that, I think that is a wrong approach. I'll not consider somebody like that being a team player. We are going to work with the secretariat. These people, you must acknowledge, they have experience. They have been there longer than us. We may have experience, but maybe ours was an external experience, not in the context of IEBC of Kenya. So we really must work with them. They may not be perfect. Maybe we are there to guide them also and discuss with them, see what is the best way forward on this particular item. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you, and I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I want to invite Misati, please, Evans.
Thanks so much, Chair. 𝐬𝐤𝐿, I want to ask you a question related to the interpretation of our constitution, Article 88. The role of IEBC in Article 88(4)(h). It talks about the role of IEBC as the facilitation of the observation, monitoring, and evaluation of elections. Now, I want us to focus on your interpretation of that part, where the role of IEBC should be able to facilitate the evaluation. Particularly, they do the post-election evaluation. But essentially, it's IEBC who usually they do the evaluation after the elections. So from where you stand, do you think when it says facilitate the evaluation, they're supposed to do it themselves or to facilitate for another internal or external party to do it? What is your take on that?
I think the best results you can get from an evaluation is when it is done by an external person who is looking at it from a different angle, who is looking at it with a different eye. Now, when it says facilitate, it cannot, to me, I don't think it should mean IEBC to do it. Maybe it should mean invite them when to do it. Can we have your reports by this day? Once you have your reports, then now can we sit together, you present to us, and we also give you our views on the way you looked at us, how we performed our duties. That way, I think you will be getting a more objective response than ourselves doing it. You could be doing it yourself and you are just defending yourself from whatever happened.
Exactly. Thanks so much. So if you are given an opportunity, I'm sure you'll do it in a different way.
That is the way I will interpret it.
The interpretation. Now, let me take you to the Campaign Financing Act. you know, it has since 2013, they enacted it and said it will take effect in 2017. 2017, it was pushed to 2022. Now in the current state, it's been told that IPC go and make the regulations, but do public participation. So from where you sit, what are the challenges you see if you are given an opportunity to be an IEBC commissioner in that campaign financing act?
The idea of the act and the provisions there, I think the intention was very good. Unfortunately, it has had to be suspended those many times. Public participation, of course, is important. It's a requirement of the law, and we need to see what the public will be affected by this act will be saying about it. And I think IBC should move very fast once it is put in place to come up with those draft regulations, then get the views from the public, because they are affected by this campaign financing. We have seen instances where there seem to be a lot of money circulating around, particularly during that time. It becomes a whole industry in Kenya. In fact, I remember when we went to observe the elections in Ethiopia, when you reach there, some people were asking whether there is still an election in Ethiopia or not, because things were just quiet. Unlike in Kenya, where it is a whole industry, from those bringing posters, T-shirts, vehicles, what. So let us hear. It will be good, yes, to get the views of the public into those regulations.
Thanks so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I want to invite Ms. Fatuma Saman to ask you some questions. Fatuma, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Okubo.
Yes.
What mechanism would you employ in improving citizen participation in a region with a history of electoral exclusion?
A region with a history of election exclusion. We need to do voter education, but who do we use? We need to get the local civil societies. We need to get the local leaders who people respect and people listen to spread this message. We need to use even local radio stations in their vernacular languages to inform these people the importance of registering as a voter, the importance of why they should vote. What do they gain? What do they stand to gain if they vote? We need to use even the local influencers who come in either through songs or through SMSs, who are trusted in that region. Then it will be easy to loop in these people who have been excluded, because now and then they will be understanding why they should participate in the elections.
You mentioned voter education. Huh?
Yes.
The content of voter education in such areas, would it be similar to what is used, for instance, like Nairobi, where there is more political consciousness?
The content is the same. It's only the language medium of communication that will make them understand it better. That will be different.
Thank you very much, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to invite Nicodemus to ask you some questions. Mr. Bore, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I will start by asking Wanandege to give us the correct pronunciation of the first name, because I've had different, so I don't know how to call it.
If it's difficult, just say youth.
Youth.
Yes, just youth.
And the last one, Youthnas, or what?
Others, you want to go all the way, and then Youthnalis.
Youthnalis.
Yes.
That's better. Now I know how to. I was trying to follow what Misati was saying, but I could not get what you were saying. Bwana Youthnalis.
Yes.
How does the Constitution of Kenya define the responsibilities of leadership, and what qualities are emphasized to ensure objectivity and service to the public?
qualities of leadership are expounded and provided for under Article 73 of the Constitution, read with Article 10 of the Constitution. As a public officer, you are supposed to be selfless, provide selfless service, be truthful to the people you are serving. You know, you are transiting, when you get that position, you are transiting from being a private citizen to a public citizen. That's where the oath of office comes in. So you're supposed to serve impartially, open to the people you are serving, respond to them as at when required, promptly when required. If you are, let's say, involved in where you're supposed to make decision, then the decision should be very impartial. Consider also the less privileged in society if they deserve such a position. In a nutshell, maybe I'll put it like that. But you link Article 73 with Article 10 on national values.
Thank you, youth, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to invite our professor to ask you some questions. Prof, please.
Bwana Kubo.
Yes.
Kubo. You know, today I've confirmed that the boy child is an endangered species. Because I didn't hear any panelists congratulate you on your achievements, yet they have really been congratulating ladies here. I'm just looking at what you have done from law to peace and security to arbitrator to diploma in finance and the institutions you have worked in, and I think on their behalf, although they didn't.
Thank you, thank you.
Let me congratulate you for that.
Yes, but we've been fair to you.
No, they've been fair.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
I want to see this resilience in leadership because I've seen you bring an organization, go and take one, and the versatility is amazing, at least from my point of view. So which leadership principles support resilience in public service leadership, particularly, and that's where my point is, because you're now seeking IEBC, particularly under political or public scrutiny?
Just come again, Prof.
Which leadership principles support resilience in public service leadership, particularly under political or public scrutiny? You could be general, you could go to the Constitution.
I think it will take me back to Article 73 and Article 10. Impartiality, openness, financial probity, prompt response and act on any public inquiry, service to the public, service to the people, and being truthful to who you are serving.
Thank you. My last question on this segment. Leadership often requires personal sacrifice for public good. How would Youth-Nalis Ndege Okubo ensure that his personal ambitions and values align with national values and the collective good of the Commission?
I think this office requires a lot of intense work. In fact, it's an office which you cannot say it is 8 to 5. You have to go beyond that. Why? Because certain things must just be done and delivered on time without looking at what you are gaining out of it, but looking at what you are delivering to the public. What is the public gaining out of what you are doing? That is the sacrifice I'll put if you're given an opportunity to serve in this office.
Thank you, Chair.
Do you have any further 2 questions?
Bwana Kubo.
Yes.
I know you are in the 6th floor.
Yes.
I'm sure all the people understand the sixth floor, but the chair usually asks us to ask some high school questions, which I know you are in long time. But we are usually fair. We start with where you have had experience in. And you're a man of letters, and therefore I just want to pick on an area that you worked in, that you developed by your own words, but which we haven't tested here. And that is in the peace and security arena. And my high school question is, IGAD with double D, where you served, when was it incepted and what was the mandate? And IGAD with one D, when was it incepted and what was the expanded mandate?
IGAD with double D, it was mainly focusing on drought and development. Those are the two double Ds there. Come 1997, it was revamped and removed one D to be development encompassing regional integration of the Horn of Africa.
There was no security in it?
Regional integration included peace and security. And mainly we're focusing on the Horn. We saw the Somalia peace process because we saw the conflicts in Sudan. Actually, people say if you have a problem over peace and security, go to IGAD. They say that Horn knows how to fight peace and security.
Very well. My last question. Name 2 countries in Africa, excluding Kenya, that have had both father and son lead the country as presidents.
DRC. And I think there's a country in West Africa, I'm forgetting the name, where we had
20 seconds.
Where we had Paul Biya and his son. Not very sure.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Paul Biya is still president, I think, in Cameroon. Yeah.
Not very sure.
Yeah.
Guess. Yeah. Omar Bongo.
Gabon.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We have come to the end. And just to echo the comments by Professor Adam Solo, your CV is very impressive. It's nice to know that there are Kenyans like this. You have served not just Kenya, but the continent. We want to appreciate your contribution. We'll assess your suitability based on what we have had today and the documents you've submitted amidst the other requirements of the Constitution, and we wish you well.
Thank you,
Do you have any comment that you'd like to make?
Just to thank you for giving me an opportunity. When the long list came out, it was indeed very long. And to have made it in a list of less than 10% of that long list, that was not, fit. I'm sure even you have had a grueling 1 month of these interviews. And I'm also sure you are really looking forward to tomorrow when you'll finish this and go to another exercise. I can only say I wish you well.
Thank you for waiting for this long. It was because your name starts with a youth. Blessings to you. Find your certificates at the door with our colleague. We wish you well.
Thank you.
Asante. Friends, it's 11:10. The next candidate was supposed to be here now, and she's around. I need advice whether we take her and have a break or we have a break now. We break. Okay. How many minutes? 30 minutes.